Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We are conducting a strictly anonymous, privacy-first financial audit. We're going to step into the shoes of a privacy-focused analyst and evaluate a submitted monthly budget. Now, in this environment, we don't ask for real names, we don't want social security numbers, we absolutely do not look at location data, and we certainly don't need your bank account details. We are stripping away the identity to look purely at the math. By treating all the income, expenses, and debt as generic variables, we can provide totally unbiased optimization strategies and debt payoff calculations based entirely on the relative percentages of the data. To ensure absolute privacy and maximum efficiency, this audit follows 5 strict protocols: secure data ingestion, vulnerability scan, threat mitigation, system optimization, and sustaining privacy. Protocol 1, secure data ingestion. All right, let's dive into the numbers. Our anonymous subjects submitted a monthly net take-home pay of $5,000, housing costs of $2,100, variable food costs of $700, utilities at $400, and a high-interest credit card balance of $4,500 at a 24% APR. But to protect the subject, we immediately strip away those raw dollars and convert everything to variables and percentages. So our net income becomes variable X, representing our 100% baseline. Right out of the gate, we can see that variable Y, housing, consumes a massive 42% of variable X. Food, or variable F, takes up 14%. Utilities, variable U, account for 8%, and variable D represents our debt threat at a 24% annual percentage rate. Now, you might be wondering, how do we track these variables securely in the real world? Well, we really have to talk about the tools we use. Most of those free finance apps out there have a hidden cost. They literally sell your spending patterns to hedge funds, push targeted ads, and demand mandatory bank linking. Turns out free is really just another word for you are the product. Your financial data is incredibly intimate, right? It reveals exactly where you live, what you eat, and where you shop. So to maintain the integrity of our privacy-first audit, we prescribe local storage solutions like the Pocket Clear app. With AES 256 encryption, 0 ads, and no bank syncing required, your financial variables remain locked on your device entirely offline. Protocol 2, vulnerability scan. Okay, so looking at this, our primary vulnerability is immediately clear. Just look at the disproportionate size of the housing slice. Variable Y is eating up nearly half of the entire system's capacity, leaving a very constrained 36% remainder to handle literally everything else. And that includes our active debt threat. To really understand why that massive slice is such a problem, we can look to historical federal guidelines. The traditional standard is that housing shouldn't exceed 30% of your gross income, or roughly 25% of your net after-tax income. Because our subject's variable Y is sitting at a whopping 42% of their net income, the system is fundamentally overleveraged. This is a critical structural vulnerability that chokes cash flow and creates immediate financial stress. Honestly, if you ever feel like you're drowning despite making a good income, this single variable is usually why. Protocol 3, threat mitigation. So what does this all mean for our debt? The crucial point is understanding how variable D actually operates. A 24% APR isn't just some fee that gets charged once a year. No, credit cards utilize a daily periodic rate. If you divide 24% by 365 days, you get roughly 0.065%. This means there is a daily periodic threat of 0.065% silently eating away at our subject's wealth every single day that balance is carried. It compounds. That makes it a highly aggressive active threat to whatever budget margins we have left. To mitigate this compounding threat, we're going to deploy the avalanche method. This strategy is purely mathematical, and frankly, it's ruthless. First, you order all your debts by their interest rate, from highest to lowest. Next, you pay only the bare minimums on all lower interest balances. Finally, you take every single drop of excess capital and hurl it at the highest APR threat, in this case, variable D. This minimizes the total interest paid over time and stops the daily mathematical bleeding faster than any other method out there. But to see exactly how fast we can neutralize variable D, we first have to find our margins. Protocol 4, system optimization. You know, a lot of people rely on the popular 50-30-20 rule, dividing income into needs, wants, and savings. But here's the catch. Because our subject's variable Y, housing, and utilities already consume 50% of the net income on their own, the needs bucket is already completely compromised. The 50-30-20 framework is just way too broad, and it's going to hide overspending. So instead, we prescribe the much stricter zero-based budgeting method to aggressively optimize those margins. Zero-based budgeting forces total accountability. Under this strict regimen, every single dollar of our remaining 36% margin is assigned a specific job before the month even begins. Income minus planned expenses must equal exactly zero. This effectively shuts down vague, miscellaneous spending and ensures that impulse purchases have absolutely nowhere to hide. Let's look at this optimization protocol in action. By trimming our 14% food variable and strictly enforcing zero-based principles, we can mobilize a massive chunk of our remaining 36% margin. If we direct just $1,000 of that $1,800 monthly remainder straight at the $4,500 credit card threat, and yes, factoring in that daily 0.065% interest rate, the avalanche method eliminates this debt completely in just under 5 months. That's right, 5 months to total threat neutralization. The math absolutely does not lie. Protocol 5. Sustaining privacy. As you move forward, I highly advise you to continually audit your own financial tools using these exact steps. Check your apps. If the privacy policy mentions sharing data with marketing partners, well, your data is being sold. If you see targeted ads for credit cards, you are the product. Look at the permissions. An expense tracker literally never needs your location or your contacts. If it asks for them, that is a massive red flag for data brokering. Test if the app works offline. And finally, see if you can export and completely delete your data at will. Let's leave off with this thought directly from our source material. Keeping it private isn't paranoid, it's prudent. Your financial data is a mirror of your life. It reveals your routines, your vulnerabilities, and exactly who you are. So ask yourself, is the slight convenience of a flashy, free application really worth handing over the keys to your digital identity? Be ruthless with your budget, be mathematical with your debt, and above all else, protect your privacy. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.